Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Anupam.
And my name is Bennett from Full Moon Robotics. We are both working on the programming subteam for this event.
Today, we're going to be showcasing you how you can use Git, a popular version control system tool, to make collaboration between your development team just a little easier. Let's get started.
So first, let's ask, why do we need Git? The first reason is that it allows you to have your code somewhere other than the driver station computer. So you can work on multiple laptops to code remotely and save your project as a central repository where others can view and download what you have worked on.
So typically what happens when you and others on your team are working on the same project, so in our case, that would be the robot code base, you need to figure out a way to not only save your code where others can see it somewhere centrally, but also a way to manage contributions from different people on your team on the same set of files or the same project.
An idea that pops to mind is to use something such as Google Drive or Dropbox. For instance, you may have someone edit a file and put it inside a folder, and there you go. Now everyone can see and use it. But what happens when you want to go back to a previous version of a file or you want to see changes line by line?
So you also may want to have copies of the same project, and we're going to learn about this as branching later on. For example, you might want to have a stable build and an in-progress build. So how can you manage all of this with lots of people potentially working on the same exact file?
This is where Git can help. All right, so let's demonstrate how to use it.
All right. Firstly, make sure that you have Git installed in your machine. You can check this by opening up command line and typing git flag version. If you get some error, you can visit the website as shown here. Note that most Linux distributions, and also if you're running OS X, will already have Git installed. Now let's create a brand new project using WPI lib and learn how to use Git for our particular use case.
Probably the most helpful shortcut in VS Code is Control-Shift-P or F1 if you don't want to combo keys. And you hold it like Control-Alt-Delete. This opens up the command palette, which I don't know, they chose a fancy name for a menu. We're going to utilize the Control-Shift-P to get to the WPI lib setup through the command palette. So once you have that open, it's just a text box with a drop-down. The way you access commands here is by typing the extension name, putting in a colon, and then putting in the command name. So for our purposes, we'll type in WPI lib colon. We want to make a project, so type in create a new project. Once it's in your view, you can click on it or skip to it by hitting enter. So typing out the whole thing isn't necessary. Hit enter and it pulls up a convenient tool that allows you to just fill out some options and create a project. Boom, robot project started.
So VS Code has an official GitHub extension. So let's go ahead and use that. Go to the building box over here in the corner. It's called the Extensions tab. Control-Shift-X can also get you there. Now go to the top bar and search GitHub, and then select GitHub pull requests and issues. Next, hit the install button. Now it's got its own side tab and other additions in its own location.
Now that you have things set up locally, it's time to prepare things for GitHub. If you don't have an account, go ahead and make one and ensure that you're logged into it.
Okay, so navigate to the third object from the sidebar with the branching shape. You can simply select Publish to GitHub or create a local Git repository. We'll be choosing Publish to GitHub. Now it's going to ask you to authenticate. It'll pull up your GitHub account in your default browser and have you confirm permission. If it doesn't automatically log you in, don't panic. You'll have the copy of the token by clicking on it. Then go to the bottom bar of VS Code and click on Signing into GitHub. Paste the token into the box it creates at the top. This works well with Google Chrome, so if you have problems, try setting Chrome as your default browser. Now just select whether you create your repository as public or private, and it'll get it uploaded to GitHub.
Your basic flow for using Git should be creating a new branch for each edition. For example, a branch for your color wheel spinner or a branch for device ID constants. Creating a new commit for each step you build onto the feature, like creating the constructor and attributes for a class. Merging with the main branch. making a pull request to add the new code to the main branch, and then accepting or rejecting the pull request after review. Sounds complicated, I know, but let's just look at step by step.
Okay, so first, go down to the bottom left corner with the name and the same branch symbol that we used in the sidebar to create the repository. When you click on this, it puts the bar and menu at the top. You can choose between the remote and local branches, or you can choose to create a new branch. You'll always want to create a new branch when main is selected. So the branch is based off main instead of another branch. Creating branches for new features instead of putting everything directly on the main branch allows peers to check code, allows you to test features without compromising the stability of your system, and specifically focuses on making you write code cleaner.
Now that you've created or modified a file that accomplishes a distinct step in completing the feature, time to make a commit. Go back to the branch on the sidebar used to create the repository, which should now have a number on it. This is source control, where you keep and manage your changes. You can move to the files and click on the plus signs on them to stage them, or go to the list name and click on the plus sign on it to stage all of them. Staging is just marking the changes to be included in your commit. Once a file is staged, you can go to it and click a minus sign to unstage it. To commit, press the check mark at the top of the pane. Now you write a short description of what it does, such as add controller inputs. Keeping code focused and neat with incremental commits makes it easy to prevent messy code and figure out what caused unexpected behavior.
As you're writing your commits, you also want to make sure that you merge with the main branch. So if you're using a branch that isn't up to date with your main branch, your code might be in conflict with the main branch, or it might undo your teammates' work. So in order to merge them in the same source control area, just go to the three dots near the check, click on it, and then go to branch. Select merge branch and choose main. If there's a merge conflict, VS Code will prompt you and show you the conflicting code, and then give you options to accept one, both, or compare two versions. Use your own discretion to figure out what to keep. Most merge commits are just caused by a prior edit to a file you also changed, and can just have both changes added.
Final step, pull request. Go to the sidebar tray that the GitHub extension added. You can then press the plus icon on the pull request list to add one. Choose main as your target and publish your branch online if you haven't yet. Now the request can be reviewed and approved in your GitHub repository online. You can always go to github.com and select it out of the list of your repositories if you don't know how to get there.
Okay, final important note. During this entire process, you should be syncing your branches with the main ones and also on the online repository. To sync a branch, simply press the cloud with an arrow or cycle icon next to the branch name at the bottom when that branch is selected. Okay, easy. Now, you'll see some branches as remote, and when you want to sync your branches, you'll keep a local copy. It doesn't matter which copy you select in the drop-down menus to switch between branches.
All right, you made it through the basics of Git and GitHub with VS Code. Good job, and enjoy having your code managed as cleanly as your team's pizza's order.